Alright everyone, here we are again. We're going to continue working on some of our neck stretches and relaxation, and we're going to go through the same process we went through at the beginning of the last video, and we're just going to add a few manual techniques where you're going to simply massage some of the muscles around the back of the neck and shoulder and across the front of the pecs and the chest. Alright, so find yourself in a nice comfy position. You can do it standing. Sitting down is probably a bit more comfortable and more manageable in the long run though. So sit up. You always think about having good posture. It's nothing militaristic. We're not trying to hurt the back or arch it, but we want to make sure we're not slouching. It's just kind of being aware. Up, tall, string being pulled through your head, and that's it. Once you're kind of there, keep the abs engaged a little bit to help you hold on up so the back doesn't have to do all the work. So we're going to start here. We're going to go through our breathing. We're going to do 3 breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, and then we'll reverse that and do 3 breaths in through the mouth and out through the nose. And then, once you find one that you like more, whenever you can just focus on your breathing, that is the goal. So we're going in through the mouth, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Paying particular attention to the air filling up and expanding our chest and sternum, and the feeling of the warmth of the air coming out of our nose, our mouth. I'm particularly paying attention to my jaw, making sure I'm not tight. I carry a lot of tension around there. Now let's go on into our neck stretches. We're going to start off just totally very benign, just turning our head to the right. Not adding any external force with my own hands or anything like that. I'm just turning, and however far I can turn is however far that these muscles are allowing them to relax. So with my right, I keep focusing on breathing nice and smooth and standing up tall. Turning a little further. Always feeling it out, never going too hard, too fast. Never being locked into one position too long. If I need to tilt up or tilt down a little bit, it's okay. One more good moment. Last breath in. And yes, I'm going to turn back to center. And a big breath in. And turn off to the left. Same things. Breathing deep. Staying up tall. Changing it on up. I'm going in through the mouth and out of the nose. Find myself able to turn a little further as I get the muscles to relax. I can see that chair all the way behind me now. And that little scooter back there. I can see that doorway all the way behind me. Black door. Big breath in, and the exhale, and come back to center. All right, I'm going to tilt my head down. I'm going to tuck my chin into my, close to my neck on this one. I'm not slouching. That's a big thing. I'm still standing upright, and then it seems counterintuitive to be sitting upright, to nod your head, but this is strictly coming from the neck. It's not coming from the back or the spine. So I'm sitting up tall. I'm going to tuck my chin on down. This is a tricky one to make sure you're not tightening up the jaw at the same time. You should feel it down here in the lower part of the neck. These are the muscles that are getting tight, and the muscles in the back of the neck, and maybe the upper part of the spine are being stretched. Still think about being long. I'm not ever trying to be short and balled on up. I'm trying to stay long and open. Even though I'm tilting my chin down, I still have some length in my neck. And it's hard to describe. You just go by your feel. Should feel, good and relaxing. It's a good one to close your eyes and let the weight of your head start to pull on down as you sit up. Good breath in. On the exhale, we'll look back up to neutral, let everything kind of relax on down. One more, we're going to look upward to the sky, so take a big breath in and look on up. So now the muscles in the back of the neck are being tightened and the ones in the front are being lengthened. Look on up again, think about being tall, not just a kink back, but a long neck. So don't make sure the shoulders stay down, back, and relax as well. Tendency is try to hike them on up to make things happen. Allow those shoulders to stay loose. Think about lifting the chin up rather than the back of the head down. Lift that chin up. That'll help you kind of create that length and keep you upright as opposed to just throwing your head back. Lift the chin. You can kind of adjust the position of your jaw as well to get all these muscles to stretch. Try not to tighten it. Don't clench it. If it falls open a little bit, that's okay. Those muscles are tight. It's wanting to pull my jaw open. I don't want to tighten it in order to keep it from opening. It's okay. Big breath in. Whew. On the exhale, we'll bring it back down to neutral. Slowly. Whoa. Let's get some vertigo there. Looking upright. You don't want to get too dizzy or move too fast for this. Alright. Well, we got to tilt now. So instead of twisting so much, and there will be some turning, twisting as well. Within this, don't have to be like super straight. But now we're going to tilt. So we're going to bring the ear down towards the shoulder. So still sit up tall. And you're still thinking about kind of lengthening up and out as opposed to just kind of like, And it's not bringing the shoulder to the ear by any means. It's bringing the ear towards the shoulder. So keep these shoulders down. So as we sit up tall, make sure we're adjusted there. We get our breathing under control. And just let the head fall. Again, I'm not pulling on it. I don't want to do anything beyond what my own muscles can pull. These muscles here are tightening, and that's going to tell these ones to relax. If I start adding external force to it, it's much more likely that I can start to pull something too far. The weight of my own head and the contraction of these own muscles are good. And the way the muscles work, as you contract one side, typically the brain, the circuits that are here tell the other muscles to relax. The antagonist muscles have to relax, and that way your body functions. You're not constantly fighting each other. So as you actually, you really are contracting these muscles, you are also inhibiting these ones a little bit. So when you do passive, there's no contraction in these muscles, so these ones aren't getting that same signal to relax. Obviously they are being stretched if you pull, but you can tell them, literally give them this brain signal to relax by contracting the opposite muscles. So I usually like to make sure that I start off with stretches without any external aid, and as they become more flexible and I want to go more advanced, then I can start adding in something. So like if I'm stretching out my hamstring or something, at first I'm just going to lift my leg up as high as I can with my quadricep muscles, and then in the future I might like put a rubber band or a towel around me in order to help me pull, or have a partner push me lower or something. But that's certainly not something I would do the first time I'm stretching. So here we're still tilting, and you adjust it. If you got to twist your head a little bit, it's all good. That's on you. But I'm stretching all across the side of my neck, and I'm trying to keep the shoulder back and relax. I make sure it doesn't get pulled. These muscles want to stay tight. They want to pull back together. So my goal is to keep this shoulder joint open. If you want to go a little more specific, we will as we go in, think about keeping your palm facing forward, at least a little bit. Don't tighten it on up, but this will help open up this joint. When the palm faces in, it closes. So if we palm forward, it helps open that on up. So that's one thing you have to think about. As you tilt and tilt and tilt and actually contract these muscles and keep working on it, these ones will relax over time. Sit up tall, think long in length, and we'll take a breath in, come back to center, and we'll swap sides. It's interesting, I can already tell the difference from one side to the next. Like I'm here, I'm like, oh, it was like don't go any further, at least not yet. But it'll relax, it'll loosen up. There we go. Now I can pull a little lower. Part of stretching is mentally telling yourself that to relax as well. You gotta kind of think about these. Tell that muscle to relax. It's not gonna get ripped apart right now. There's nothing to be for these muscles to be tense and try to contract against. They're not gonna be pulled from their bone. We're not gonna strain or anything like that. We are under control and we are doing this on purpose. Alright, slight interruption. Where were we? We're tilting. So I'm tilting to the left. Gonna get up tall, I'm gonna readjust my breath and breathing. And I'm tilting to the left. I'm gonna finish this side on off. And I'm only here, keeping the chest open. Remember, I can always keep my palm open. So I'm gonna think about my palm being upright. So I'm gonna think about my elbow pit being upright as well. Again, if you close all that off, this muscle gets closed off and stays tight. We want to open it on up. A lot of posture comes from keeping the chest open, not from arching the lower back, but keeping the chest broad and open. And a lot of daily habits have us close on off. Typing, driving, all that stuff tends to pull our arms inward. We need to really keep that chest broad and open. So if you're feeling a stretch across here, you know that this tends to make sense, but sometimes people feel a stretch across the chest, and we're going to address that in just a moment. And that makes sense too, because these muscles are trying to pull tight, and we're trying to keep them open. So if you got to stretch all the way across here as well, it makes total sense. It's not anything weird. Let's breathe on in, bring back to center, and here we go again. I'm going to go back to the tilt, because it's the most effective, and I'm going to work on stretching out slightly, giving it a little bit of massage and manually adjusting some of these muscles across here. Not really adjustment, just literally just pressing on them and gently. It should not be pain. You should not be wincing when you do this. It should be a supplemental way to help you relax. That's the goal. This is not like bang on the muscles to submission and then it just goes limp. It's pushing and just being mindful of like, oh, there's some tension. Can I tell my body to relax through it? So I'm gonna go tilt back to the right. And a slight rotation as well, whatever gets you comfortable. Sit up tall, get my breathing, and I'm gonna start right back here, about where my neck becomes my head, and I'm just pressing on it, and I'm just rolling all the way down towards the top of my shoulder. And I am not pushing hard. I'm pushing just enough that I know I'm doing something, and it feels good, and I'm kind of pushing circulation through as well. But it's just all it is a cue to be like, yep, those muscles are tight. I'm going to relax through it. If you find a spot, doesn't mean push harder and make yourself painful. It just means try to relax through it. In fact, lighten up the pressure on a particularly, if you like a pressure point, lighten up the pressure. Put just enough so that your body is like, okay, if you're pushing down and all of a sudden the shoulder's rising on up, you're completely counteracting what we're trying to do. We don't want these muscles to get tight. We want them to stay low. Down. So you just go smoothly and slowly and softly. And you can kind of think about this as a helpful method to stretch. When you think about like maybe holding a rubber band between 2 points, right? These 2 points, endpoints, are fixed. So that's the muscle connection, and it's an insertion and the origin. The origin where it begins and the insertion where it ends. So this muscle origin is up here at the top, and it inserts down here towards the shoulder. So those are points where those muscles are pulling. So I can stretch them by trying to pull those points further across, further apart, So that's what we do when we just kind of manually pull on down. That's it. So that's the 2 points on the rubber band are here and here. Once we can't pull them any further, the way to stretch something after that is to then apply pressure in the middle, right? Straight line is the shortest distance, so at any time I put any pressure on there and it bends even slightly, I make that a little longer. So therefore you are applying a tiny bit of stretch. And interestingly enough, when you apply it, you can change up the position where the major stretch happens. If I'm just pulling a rubber band, if you were to sit there and go, it's typically going to get burnt out right in the middle. That's just where the belly, where this stretch tends to happen the most, right in the middle of it. That's not exactly how muscles work. Depends on the origin and insertion and kind of other mechanical advantages. But if you are just constantly pulling, you're only getting the major stretch in the belly of it. And then if you think about actually another thing, if you have a weak point in the rubber band, like if you just clip it a little bit and you stretch it, if you look at it, you're probably going to tear that weak spot, right? It's probably not going to tear in the middle anymore. It's going to tear at the weakest point. So it's another way to think about it. If you have a weak spot or already a strain in this muscle, every time you pull on through, you're probably stretching that one spot. So you want to be gentle. You're probably stretching at the tear more than anywhere else. It's just how things tend to work. So it means be gentle, but it also means that we can start to put pressure and get the stretch to happen at more specific points. So as I'm here and I put pressure right here, the stretch is now a bit more drastic between these 2 points. I kind of make this an end point, and now the stretch happens through here a bit more. As I push on down, that changes. So you also get relaxation, circulation, and you get a little more specificity on where you are stretching these muscles. So we go on through, and we just go slowly. All right. And then you might be surprised. I'm going to keep my head tilted, but I'm going to slightly tilt on up, and I'm going to work on the front of my chest. So it's kind of the front of my neck. I don't really push too much on my neck. I don't want to push on my throat or any of those, whatever, the trachea, whatever I breathe through around here. And I don't want to push on my veins in order to reduce circulation. I go very gently, and I usually kind of stay kind of low down here, kind of around the clavicle in the chest. And you'd be surprised that even though this isn't my neck, a lot of these muscles come on through, and as I pull on through here, I can get a pretty good stretch. So I tilt and I press right around here. I can look up a bit more, and I can press, and that gets much more noticeable as I tilt on up. All these muscles right around here attached to the clavicle, and I can feel it as I pull, adding some stretch to it. The whole jaw wants to get pulled on down when I pull on these spots. So I really do think about this one. I keep my left hand opened on up, my palm facing on up to keep this back and down as much as I can. And then I apply my pressure through, nice and light. Two different spots. So finish stretching, massaging gently around the chest area. And of course, I'm going to repeat on the other side. So I tilt on over. I work on going on the back of the neck, the base of the neck and the head, easily pressing down to the back of the shoulder. Keeping that hand open. And then I work on the chest area. Work on tilting down. So really obviously we pull on, we don't pull. Sit up tall, tilt on down, and we gently push on the back of the neck and shoulders. You can do two hands, you can do one hand this. We're not trying to pull down, okay? Next week, we'll work on kind of pulling Right now, it's just pressing on the muscles softly. And we finish by looking on up. And I don't necessarily want to push down on like my throat area or anything like that. I don't want to choke myself or cut off circulation with these main arteries going up. I want to start by the jaw. I go by behind the ear. I kind of push from there. Across the jawline. Underneath slightly. And then I gently and kind of, feeling my way across the side of the neck a little bit more. Is a bit meatier, a little more obvious. And as we get down to the front, I pull on right about where the clavicle begins. You'd be surprised how much tightness you can get pulling all the way down the neck. With this, you can, kind of tilt off into one side a little bit more to emphasize one side of it versus the other. Finish on about 20 good minutes of just taking our time and stretching out our neck, focusing on our breathing, and it feels pretty good. It's nice to have the neck relaxed, particularly my jaw. That's where I hold a lot of stress there. Alright, hope you enjoyed it. Next week, we're going to go through very similar, and we're going to apply a bit more to the stretch. So practice this several times this week to make sure you are prepared for a slightly more advanced level next week.